Next, on what it's like to go viral. The whole country, I'd say, has been moved this week by the sad news of the death of Laura Nuttall, who died aged 23. You may remember she was diagnosed with a brain cancer at just 18, told she had 12 months to live, and then has documented an amazing bucket list of achievements over the last few years, from meeting Michelle Obama to dancing on stage with Peter Kay to commanding a Royal Navy ship, and my favourite, doing the weather on BBC Northwest Tonight.
Her diagnosis didn't stop her from living life to the full and completing a bucket list of ambitions. She presented the weather.
Let's have a look at the pressure chart for today.
Met Michelle Obama, captained a Royal Navy ship.
I never got the chance to get my uniform or actually go on a boat, and now I am piloting a ship.
Carried the Commonwealth Games baton and graduated from the University of Manchester.
I've been to South Africa, went on a safari, been to New York, just had some good times despite having a brain tumour, and that's what I'm going to carry on doing, living life to the fullest, because when it feels like it's getting taken away from you, you realise how much you've not actually lived. Sure, everyone's got a life, but are they actually out there living it? Or are they just waiting for tomorrow?
It was all documented online on Twitter by her mum, Nicola, on her account, Shit Scared Mum. And, who wouldn't be, frankly? And she joins us now. Nicola, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Oh, thank you for asking me.
Yeah, we're so grateful that we get the opportunity to speak to you, not just to kind of reflect on Laura's life, of course, and the impact that she had on continues to have on all of us, but also the fact that you've used social media so effectively to highlight what she's been through, what you've been through as a family, the achievements that you've had remarkably over the last couple of years with the bucket list that Tim just mentioned as well. So if I may, I'd love to ask you about the social media side of things. At its best, social media kind of drives human connection, and it somehow makes the world seem a bit smaller. Did Laura know how many people you could potentially reach and how much awareness you could bring by using Twitter predominantly?
I don't think we did at the start, definitely, because we started from zero, and I was just literally screaming into the abyss because there were things I wanted to say, and I wanted to just howl at the unfairness of the situation. And it began like that, and I just was it was just very warts and all about how hard it was and how angry I was and how frustrated I was. And then what happened is people wanted to help. So from very early on, people were saying, well, what can we do? Is there anything you'd like to do? Anything you'd like to see? And it was around that time that we thought, well, we're going to start a bucket list, because otherwise life becomes about chemo and radio and being sick and nothing else really. So we thought, well, if we can intersperse the grim stuff with some really happy things, then that will help to just get through the tough times. And it's also things that you can then reflect upon when things are tough. You can look back on the photographs and go, remember when we did this? And so we started off with a bucket list, and it was shared, and it got quite a lot of traction, which was brilliant. And then other people were contacting me saying, I can't help with anything on the bucket list, but do you fancy doing this? Or do you want to come and see this? And do you want to come to this event? And it just created its own momentum. So, and I probably was too honest. And certainly Gracie would say, oh my God, Mum, you're so embarrassing. Why are you saying these things? But I felt that it was important that you shared the good bits as well as the bad bits. And certainly in the last few weeks and months, it's been a lot of bad bits, and people have been really supportive. And I've been literally sharing the death of my daughter as opposed to the life. So that it was all a bit grim, but it's been great that we've been able to share things like the Euros and going fishing with Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse and going to South Africa and things we did at Saturday Night Live. So we've done amazing things. It's been the most roller coaster of roller coasters, really, because the highs have been incredible, but the lows have been pretty bleak. And if you were to read it all in one go, my God, I think you'd need to have a lie down afterwards, because there's a lot. It's been a lot, really.
And I heard Laura once say in an interview that knowledge is power. And I wonder now, when you sort of reflect back on the social media presence, the phenomenon that is your daughter as well, and the interest that's there, whether the primary focus of it has really been about spreading awareness about the disease, or whether it's been also about raising funds as well, not just for charity, but also for Laura's treatment in over the course of the last couple of years. What's been the most sort of useful part, I suppose, of social media?
Well, I think to start with, it was quite selfish. It was for my benefit, and that was it. But then we did so much research, or I was just poring over the internet all the time to try and find out what we could do to make things better for Laura. So we found various treatments, we spoke to lots of people, and then through social media, people were contacting me to find out how Laura was looking so well and how she'd outlived her 12-month prognosis. So then it became a vehicle for sharing the information. So we ended up setting up our own website page and a Facebook support group. And when people were contacting me, I was feeding them into our support group, and I was sharing them a big, long, lots of information so that I could save them some time, because everybody is going through this laborious process of trying to find a cure, trying to find treatment. Then we're all just wasting the same amount of time non-stop. So it became a tool to actually contact other people and for other people to contact me. And after I set up the account, Laura became an ambassador for the brain tumour charity. So then it became about fundraising as well. So it started off as one thing, and then it's morphed into other things as time's gone on. And lots of people have contacted me to say, my family member or friend has this disease, and this happened to me. And the stories are horrific because the treatment is really poor and hasn't changed in decades. So now it's becoming more campaigning and trying to improve things, because it is the biggest cancer killer of children and adults under 40, and it gets 2% of cancer funding. So how on earth can that not be something I need to shout about and world? Because it's only when you find yourself in this situation that you are bowled over by the unfairness of it all.
And you said at the beginning there that it was almost a selfish thing for you. I guess in terms of the emotional support, you must be kind of like in awe and just of the support that you've had from both celebrities, people in the public eye, but also just random strangers as well. And I wonder whether you feel like, now that Laura's passed, whether this is a really helpful way for you to honour her memory. I know certainly when my father died, I just wanted to talk about him non-stop. I didn't have social media available to me then, but I wonder, this gives you so much opportunity to talk about your beloved daughter.
Yeah, and I probably will do that till people get bored of me.
Yeah.
There are lots of stories, there's lots of photographs, and if that is a vehicle that I can help to push change, then I'm absolutely going to do that. And that's what she would expect me to do, more importantly. And if I didn't do that, she'd be absolutely furious. It's been really lovely because people have contacted me. That there was a girl that I'd never heard her name before, but she was at school with Laura, and she messaged me via Twitter to say that when she was being bullied at high school, Laura was really kind to her, and she knew she was interested in poetry, and Laura bought her a poetry book and always made sure she was included and sat with her. And I would never have known that otherwise. And I was so touched that she reached out like that to me. So, it's great that celebrities are following or whatever, but actually somebody contacted me to tell me that was just so moving. And I guess it's that broad gamut of information. But Laura also wrote a letter. She was asked by a primary school at the bottom of the road, Barrowford School, which actually has also gone viral previously with the letter that it sent out. But every year they get somebody to write a letter to their year 6 children, and it tells them, don't worry about exams, there's more to life than that. So Alistair Campbell's done it, Sean Dyche, various other people, and they asked Laura last year, and that letter that she wrote has gone all around South America. So I've had messages in the last few days from Brazil and from Costa Rica from teachers telling me that they read that letter out to the kids in their school, and that's quite mind-blowing.
It's astonishing as well, and I'm sure that Laura would be so incredibly proud as well of what's been achieved over the last couple of years, and also what you're carrying on. So with that in mind, what happens next for you? I mean, there's obviously a huge amount of grieving and time with your family. This is all so recent in a way, but what happens next? What's your plan?
Well, we are arranging a celebration of her life. She wouldn't have wanted a formal funeral, so she's having an unattended cremation. Her brain is actually being donated this afternoon to research.
Wow.
I probably can't think too hard about it because I'll be a puddle on the floor, but it's what she wanted. And it was, very much, we were campaigning for better research, and you can't do that without the raw materials for that research. And it's all very well talking about how important it is, but you have to walk the walk as well. And that's very much Laura's attitude, that we have to do it. We have to get on with it. So that's happening today. This afternoon, we're going to go and find a place to have her memorial, which will be a celebration of her life. We're even thinking of having a music festival in the summer if we can pull it off in time. But in terms of where we go in for Laura's legacy, we do have some money left from her treatment fund, and I need to work out how best to utilise that. So I've actually signed up for the British Neuro-Oncology Society conference, which is in July, that I'm attending with the Our Brain Bank charity, and we're very much campaigning to improve things for people in the future, because Laura never got upset about her diagnosis. She never once cried and said it was not fair and why me. It just wasn't her style. But the thing that got her was when we lost somebody else. That's when she got upset, and that's when she wanted to punch things. And I just don't want other families to go through what we've been through, because it's horrific. And the last few weeks, as anyone who's read my Twitter will have seen, caring for somebody who loses every aspect of themselves, that's hard. Is hard. It's hard, and the images stay with you, and it's difficult. And I don't want anyone else to go through that with their child specific, because it's brutal. So whatever we can do, whether it's trying to fund freezers in hospitals so that they can actually store tumour tissue, whether it's equipment, or whether it's helping individual families in some small way, we haven't decided yet, and we're not going to rush into it. We need to just kind of take stock and work out the best way of doing it. But I will do everything I can to make sure I continue with Laura's legacy of change and improvement in the system.
Well, Nicola, you said, I think on your Twitter as well, you said it was the honour of your life to be her mum. And I can't think of a more beautiful, beautiful tribute. Thank you so much for sharing your daughter with the world. This podcast is called Sorry You Went Viral. We're not at all sorry that Laura's story has gone viral, because I think by the sounds of it, it's exactly what she would have wanted, and what has obviously made you so proud of her and of the whole family, no doubt, as well. We are so sorry, though, for your loss. Thank you so much for talking to us, Nicola.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to me.
Nicola, just before we finish, just for those who are listening or watching who want to get involved, I know you're working out the next steps, but how can people donate money to help fund this research?
Well, we still have our GoFundMe Doing It for Laura page up and running, so donations that go into there will be funneled in the right way. But we're working with a charity called Our Brain Bank, that's OUR Brain Bank, and also the Brain Tumour Charity, who do a lot to support families like ours. So both of those charities are doing amazing work in different ways to help people with a glioblastoma diagnosis.
Thank you very much again, Nicola. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.